This is the Ourvoice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Ourvoice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Ourvoice 360. Let's go! Hey guys, thank you for joining us for Ourvoice 360, our perspectives, our way. I'm your man, Chad Bumgarner, 1/3 of the trio here. I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
And my man, Mike Brown, the Don Dada.
Blessings.
Okay, with that, let's go ahead and get into it.
And as always, our show is brought to you by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And also CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading? And if you would like to drop us a line or would like to be a sponsor, give your thoughts on of the show and what you feel about the show, your likes, your dislikes, hey, just hit us up on ourvoice360@gmail.com and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we're going to flip the script. Shut up, Mike. Shut up. We're going to go to sports right now. Then we're going to hit Mike with the inspiration because inspiration is really going to lead into our topic today. And you're going to want to stick around for the topic that we're going to be speaking on today. So, Pete, hit us up with the sports, man. What's going on with the sports?
Again, in sports this week, COVID dominates college football. COVID is undefeated, man. As of right now, as of this recording, college football has had to cancel 13 games this weekend, and we're talking major football games. They've canceled at least 5 games of ranked teams in the SEC this weekend. Among the latest game that was canceled was Arizona State versus Cal, where we found out that Herm Edwards of coaching fame, NFL Herm Edwards, who is now the coach of Arizona State, has been tested and tested positive for COVID. So they canceled that game for this weekend also. Some NBA news now. This week, Russell Westbrook has asked to be traded from the Houston Rockets, which is huge news in NBA circles. Because you would think with him and James Harden being such good friends, that would be something that would work out in Houston. But again, when you have 2 ball-dominant guards who really only can be effective when they have the basketball in their hands, at some point, it was going to be a problem, and it was going to be an issue. And actually, it goes deeper than just Russell Westbrook wanting out of Houston. Now, of course, we're finding out now that P.J. Tucker is having an issue with his contract in Houston. We're having an issue now with Doc Rivers' son, Austin Rivers, being upset about his playing time. So, of course, when negative things happen on any sports team, they're going to start peeling back the covers and, finding out other issues with the team.
You know what, Pete, real quick, man, I wonder why he really wants to go out of Houston, because we've seen multiple superstars play on the same team and be effective and win. So I wonder what's really going on.
What's really going on is that you have 2, like I said earlier, you have 2 guys who are not effective without the basketball. You look at Golden State, you look at Steph, Clay, Draymond, and even when KD was there, those guys understood and those guys were effective without the basketball. Steph did things without the basketball, back screens, this, that, and the third. James Harden nor Russell Westbrook does anything outside of dominating the basketball.
So they're just pure scorers is what you're saying. That's all they do.
That's it. That's all they do. You're not going to see Russell Westbrook set a back screen to get somebody open. You've never seen James Harden get anybody free for an open shot for somebody else. He
Yeah.
dribbles the ball for 15, 20 seconds out of the shot clock, and if he can't get a shot, he's going to pass to somebody with 2 seconds so they can hoist up a bad shot. Same thing with Russell Westbrook. So I mean, when you have two players of that ilk that like to dominate the ball, something has to give, and neither one of them are willing to give.
That's
Because, like I said, because neither one of them are effective without the basketball. They're not going to get anybody else open. I mean, if you look at a lot of the Houston games when, say, Russell Westbrook was hot and cooking, and you would see James Harden passing the ball and just stand. He's not going down setting screens or anything. He's just standing in a corner, or he's just standing on the outside waiting to get the ball back. So we kind of figured that it wouldn't work, but hopefully it would. But I mean, you can't. Though their egos are not going to allow them to not do what they do best. And now people are even looking in NBA circles are like looking at Russell Westbrook going to another team as a negative. He's not the type of guy that's going to push a team over the top to win a championship. I mean, there's talk now that the Clippers are willing to trade Paul George to Houston for Russell Westbrook. That's not going to work.
No.
That's not going to work because Kawhi's going to look at Russell Westbrook like, dog, you need to pass me the ball.
Right.
I mean, if he goes anywhere else with any stars, those stars are going to be like, bro, you need to give up the rock. Now he can go to somewhere like the Knicks and be who he is. Number one guy. Yeah, number one guy because there's no real threat to his position.
What about Minnesota?
No, because you got Karl Anthony Towns up there and D'Angelo Russell up there now. So and plus they have the number one pick. So they're probably going to get, and we'll talk about that a little later. With Minnesota, but he's not a good fit with Minnesota either. He has to go to a team where there's no stars, where there's no other alpha dogs. And like I said,
so he can shine.
Exactly. The Knicks would be a good spot for him because there's no other alpha dogs on that team.
What about the Magic?
The Magic. Orlando would be good because there's no real. I mean, the only person that you could really name off that team is Aaron Gordon. So he could go to a team like that, like I said, with no major superstars and be the Russell Westbrook that we know.
Right.
But if he goes to a team like, say, a Golden State or the Lakers or even Brooklyn, that's not going to work because that's not who he's going to. He's not effective without the basketball.
He's going to be frustrated.
Exactly, and that's why he was frustrated in Houston because James Harden pounds.
Now here lies the problem. Do you want to go somewhere and be the man, or do you want to go somewhere and get a ring?
That's on him. I mean, that's his call. I mean, because we look at a person like Allen Iverson. You saw how tough it was for him once he left Philly. Once Philly traded him, how hard it was for him to be second fiddle. To be I mean, even in his later years, even like in Memphis. When he got traded to Memphis, it was a struggle for him not to be the man.
Right.
Even though he was well out of his prime, he still had that ego of I'm the man.
I don't come off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not coming off the bench. And I mean, you even saw it with Carmelo. Until Carmelo got to Portland, he was not willing to, give up any of his ego and be like, look, I'm a second fiddle. I may be the third wheel. In Houston. That's why Carmelo struggled in Houston because he refused to be the third wheel. I mean, but bruh, that's where you are right now.
Yeah.
Right. And then when he finally got it in his head, okay, I'm not going to be the guy in Portland. He flourished in Portland, and he's going to be he's a key piece in Portland now because guess what? He found out. If I play my role as the third guy, I'm good. I can run with the second unit and get all the shots I want. But you have to be willing to set your ego aside and understand you're not that guy anymore. But the difference is with Russell Westbrook, he's in his prime.
Right.
Russell Westbrook is in his prime right now, so he's definitely not going to take a back seat to anybody,
Right.
unless he's on a team that's struggling. So that's where it stands with Russell Westbrook right now. I hate to see that, but those two alpha dog mentalities just butting heads is not going to
But
work.
heads.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
not going to work.
Right.
And more NBA news. The NBA draft is next week.
Right.
We have the top three picks. The top three guys are going to be picked are Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, and LaMelo Ball. It just depends on what team picks them, because you have the Memphis Grizzlies with the number 1 pick, the Golden State Warriors with the 2nd pick, and the New York Knicks with the 3rd pick. So we already know those 3 guys are going to go 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. Now it's just the order and where they're going to go.
They go. Yeah.
In which they go. And for me, it's really a toss-up with Minnesota. Will they take Anthony Edwards from Georgia, or will they take LaMelo Ball? And I think James Wiseman is out of the conversation for the number 1 pick, because Minnesota wants one of those guards. I think they're going to go more to like a 3-guard lineup, especially if they get like a LaMelo Ball, who's a 6'7" kid who could he's known more as a point guard, but he could play a little too, and you could slide D'Lo to maybe the 2 or the 3 at times. And then you have Anthony Edwards, who is a walking bucket. He is a walking bucket. He reminds me a lot of D Wade. But he reminds me a lot of actually Dwayne Wade. And a little bit of James Harden, because his frame, he's good frame, 6'5" kid, 225. I mean, this kid is 18 years old, 19 years old, already NBA ready, body wise, already 6'5", 225, handle, shot, pass, get to the rack. He is the full complement of what you want in a point/2. He is great. Now, if Golden State right now is sitting really good, because whoever goes first, they're going to have their pick between one of those guards or James Wiseman, which I think they'll go with James. If they keep the number 2 pick and not trade it to another team to get another veteran, mm-hmm. I think they'll take James Wiseman, because at this point they have shooters, they have Steph, they have Clay, they have Draymond. They need a rim protector. They need somebody that can protect the rim, and James Wiseman is a very good defender. A la what's his name? Dwight Howard. He reminds me a lot. Reminds me a lot of Dwight Howard. So I think Golden State is in that realm of. I think they're going to take James Wiseman, because I think one of those guards will go first, LaMelo or Anthony Edwards will go first. And I think if they keep that pick, James Wiseman will fall right there at number 2 for them. And then, of course, the Knicks will take the other guard that's not picked first, whether it be LaMelo or Anthony Edwards. So next week is going to be really fun for the NBA. And also in the NBA, they ratified and the players agreed with starting the NBA season December 22nd. Very quick turnaround for the NBA.
Yeah, that's
very extremely quick turnaround. But what they're trying to do is avoid not running into the Olympics, running into the Summer Olympics. That's what they're trying to avoid. So the NBA players, if they started in further out than the 22nd, the season's going to, because they want to play 72 games. So if they run it out any further than the 22nd of December, those 72 games are going to run into the Summer Olympics. And then, of course, that's going to take out the NBA players playing in the Olympics.
But regular season is 88 games, is that right? So it's being condensed.
82,
right? 82.
Yeah, so they're gonna take off 10 games of the regular season.
10 games.
And for me, I would think, I would like it to be between 60 games maybe. I would prefer it to be 60 games, because you just came off the NBA finals. You just came off the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And then logistically, how are we going to go back into a bubble? Are we going to go back into the bubble situation, or are we going to just have
I heard they were going to travel and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
That's not safe.
Even this morning, well, I mean, they have private jets and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not like they're getting on regular flights. They have they have their own team planes and stuff. But even as of this morning, of this morning before the recording, Golden State is trying to get people into the stands at their arena. I mean, they're trying to get half capacity in their new arena. And they've said they have this plan and all these protocols, and they're going to test all the fans before they come in and this, that, and the third. But capitalism is really overtaking people's health right now. I don't understand it.
Anything
I mean,
for $1.
Exactly. So you're going to put 10,000 people in this arena and risk them getting sick. I mean, because if they test negative, they still may have it. You know what I'm saying?
Or they may get it when they get in there.
Exactly. So I really don't understand what Golden State is doing right now. But again, the target date is December 22nd to get the season started back up and run the 72 games, the playoffs, and of course the NBA championship. So they won't run into the Summer Olympics. So that's the sports for me, guys. Anything else we need to talk
real
about?
Quick, I'm interested to see what the fallout is going to be from that college game. I think it was Oregon where they stormed the field at the end of the game.
Notre Dame.
Sorry, my fault.
Notre Dame and Clemson. Yeah.
And when I saw that, you know what I'm saying, I cringed, man. All them people jumped the doggone stands and jumped down on the field. Normally, we would consider that to be okay, but of course, because of COVID and everything, it's like, oh my God, did they just do that?
First of all, why were that many students in the game?
To begin
in the stadium? To begin with, why was it that many students and people in the stands to begin with?
Right.
People act like this COVID isn't real, man.
Yeah, it's going to be really man. It's sports right now. I mean, with sports teams losing money, with colleges losing money, they're going to be more incentivized to put people in the stands because the loss of money. It's just like here in South Carolina, up here in South Carolina, Clemson just got rid of their whole track program. The whole program, men's and women's track, done. So I mean, yeah, because they don't have the money. They don't have the money because there's nobody coming to the football game. Because at Clemson, football runs everything.
Football pays for everything.
Yeah, football plays for all the sports.
Well, they need to put something in the kitty. Something.
Yeah. So, and like we discussed on the last podcast, a lot of these big time Power 5 schools, conferences, they're 2-3 months without football from shut down all of their sports programs because football means that much to those programs as far as generating revenue. They mean that much.
And I don't know if that's good or bad because that would take some really in-depth studying. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A university should not have to rely on one sports program
to carry
it. Yeah, that's a problem. I may be speaking immaturely on this, but that's a problem. But at the same time, like Pete said, this capitalism. That's what it's all about. It's the capitalism.
Yeah, and then like I said, these colleges, especially these football dominated schools, these Alabamas, the Clemsons,
in the South,
especially the LSUs and those schools, they are so beholden to college football. They're willing to do anything to keep the doors open. I mean, college football makes, if not the same, more money than actual tuition. The tuition of the kids. So,
and you know, a lot of the schools are getting blowback from the students, and I think we talked about this the last podcast, or maybe the one before, where it's like you want to charge me full tuition, but I'm no longer using the dorms because we're virtual now. No dorms, no CAF, no library, no student center, none of that. So why are you charging me full price? You know what I'm saying? So now you got schools that are actually bringing kids back. on campus. But like one friend of mine, he was saying, um, after Thanksgiving break, the kids don't come back no more. So from Thanksgiving break on to December and finals, everything's virtual. And then they start back in January. So they don't come back after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because with all these kids going home, you don't know what they're bringing back.
You don't know what they bringing back.
Yeah. So and the way that COVID is spiking right now, I mean, it's worse than what it was in the summer. Yeah, it's worse now than what it was in the summer.
Because you got people that don't believe it's real. You got people that believe, well, it's no different than the flu. But tell that to over 250-some thousand people, families whose loved ones have died from this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell that to them.
Yeah. So this COVID is affecting more than just, our regular lives. It's affecting sports in a major way.
Before we move on, one little quick highlight for HBCU. Morris Brown College, after so many years, have
20
finally
years.
got their accreditation back. I'm so happy to see that.
Yeah, after 20 years.
Yes, and I'm really hoping and praying that these kids will start looking at Morris Brown and start building that HBCU back, because we need our HBCU. Good, bad, and ugly. We need them. We need them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Appreciate you, Pete.
Yes, sir.
On the Sports Brief, man. Appreciate that. Mike, come on, drop some jewels on us, man.
All right.
Today.
Really? Let's start with the word of prayer. Dear Lord.
Yeah, like he Dan Rather or something. Just sitting back there. All right.
This ain't 60 minutes. It's 28 minutes and 12 seconds. All right. What I wanted to say was, you need to stop allowing people to shift your focus from your calling.
Oh my.
Come on, Pete. I know you felt something on that.
Wow.
Come on, pal. Mike, say that again, man. Do what now?
Stop allowing people to shift your focus from your calling.
Wow. That good gracious. You need to expound on that, brother.
Okay.
Dig a little deeper.
Everybody, and I'm not trying to go biblical, but
Well,
I am. We just gonna say it like this: the devil hard at work, bro.
Yes, sir.
The enemy is already looking into your future before you are. And that could be people around you, whatever. They see something in you that you may not even see in yourself, but they know where you're headed.
Right.
So the best thing for me to do is to shift your focus. Nah, bro, don't even do that, dog. Come over here. Man, you can do that later. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now you done veered to the left. And when you went to the left, you went a whole different situation now.
Right.
Now you gotta fight to get back on path if possible. Because sometimes you can't get back on that path.
That's
that
true.
window of opportunity is gone.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying?
Company.
And I see so many young people, man, especially now. Times are different than when we grew up. You know what I'm saying? Right. We didn't have to worry about this and pills and this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the music was different. Now everybody, everybody talking about using. I've lost 2 young people in the month of October that I knew personally to heroin overdoses. That's you know what I'm saying? It's and it's always because a lot of it is peer pressure, man. Peer pressure is real, especially now with these kids.
But even into adulthood, on your mindset, peer pressure is still real. I tell my kids to this day, I said, a lot of times adults are no different than they were when they were kids. They're just older.
Yeah, that's just older kids.
Okay, but you know.
Yeah.
But so you really have to have a strong mind and a strong support team around you. You know what I'm saying? To help keep you focused on your goal and what it is you're trying to do. Because I mean, just like what Mike's saying, in other words, misery loves company. For some reason,
better say it.
You got a group of people that hate to see other people around them succeed.
Right.
And you all know as well as I do, in order to succeed or become successful in anything that you do, takes planning, sacrifice,
yes,
dedication. And when you got people over here that don't want to do any of the three, they're gonna be mad at the person trying to do something.
Yeah,
It's like that. No matter where you are on this planet,
yeah,
we'll always have a group of people. And sometimes, it's sad to say, sometimes it's even your own family.
Yeah, just like my elders always told me, when you running with your crew, your family, your friends, whatever, one or two things are gonna happen. Either you gonna pull them, or they gonna pull you. Now, which one is it?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. And I tell mine all the time, I say, you can tell who your real friends are. Because when you finally stand up for yourself and be like, look, I'd love to go party, but I got to study for this test tomorrow, or I got to write this paper, or I got to work, or something it is that you have to do to attain your goal.
Yeah.
And they say, like what Mike said, you can worry about that later, man. Come on over here and do this now. This is the here and now. This is what we're doing right now.
Right.
You have a decision to make, because then you have some friends that'll play you to the left. Man, whatever. He lame. She lame.
Yeah.
But then you have something to come back to you and be like, you know what? I respect what you did. I was scared to stand up, but I respect what you did. And you may possibly change somebody else's mind.
Yeah.
But you can't change nobody's mind when you going with the crowd.
Exactly.
You
Because
got
you're no different than the crowd.
Like I tell mine, you got to get to a point where you draw the stick in the sand and like, thank you, but no thank you. Or nah, I want to, but I can't. This is what I'm trying to get. And in order for me to get this, obtain this, I've got to sacrifice something. I've got to plan. I've got to prepare. You know, all.
Yeah, and as young people, I know my mom and dad always instilled in me that and pretty much on what you were talking about, Chad. At some point, you have to be able to separate yourself.
That's right.
You have to be able to separate yourself. You have to be, I mean, big enough and grown enough to separate yourself from situations. And for me as a kid, I was pretty much alone, an only child. You know, I was in that aspect of, I didn't really need anybody's approval for this, that, and the third or whatever. And, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up because I chose not to. I kept my little circle small because guess what? At the end of the day, if I'm running with a group of folk and something pop off, we all getting in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or if one of the crew, they take something out the store, we all getting in trouble.
Right.
So I mean, we especially, like I said, these young people, they're so influenced by others. And with us growing up, we saw other kids that were influenced and by other people. But today's generation, man, it's with social media and TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and all this other stuff. It's so hard for them to focus on themselves because society
is constantly in their face.
Yeah, society is pretty much said, okay, you have to do X, Y, and Z to be accepted. You remember back, and I'm gonna talk about music and hip hop. When we was growing up, it was cool to be smart.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Big words.
Yeah, it was cool to have knowledge of self.
Yes,
because
sir.
We had music, we had X Clan, we had
KRS-One, Poor Righteous
Teachers, we had Brand Nubians, we had Public Enemy, and Paris and all these other groups that not only gave you knowledge of self, but our culture and our people uplifted us as a culture and a people. And we all know how influential music is. You look at music today. and what the young people listen to today. That it's cool to be high. It's cool to be taking dope. It's cool to be, you know what I'm saying, to be the dumb one in the crew. I mean,
you know what gets me? And I'm not trying to cut you off.
No, you good, bro.
But I did cut you off, and I apologize. You know, when I hear people on these songs and they say things like straight up, when you know it's straight up. You know what I'm saying?
Some people have speech impediments, man.
No, I mean like
Oh, you know, purposely?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And like Plies in the interview, Plies said that. Plies went to college.
He is a college educated man. Yeah. And he know better, but okay.
Yeah. And he said he do it because that's what sell records.
Mm-hmm. And that's sad. And that's sad that we're in this state of
dumbing it down.
Dumbing it down. But we're in this state of, like I said, especially with our young people, where they're being pulled by so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we keep going back to, when we were growing up, because that's what we can only talk about. We didn't have social media. We didn't have those type of things. We didn't have the Instagrams and the TikToks and all that other stuff that pulled us away from, our base and what we were brought up on. And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's much harder for these young people today to navigate the world, because they have, like I said, Chad, they have so much stuff thrown at them right now. So much stuff thrown.
When you see kids in church on the phone or the iPad, it's so easily accessible. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When we went to church, we was in church. Mm-hmm. It wasn't playing with the phone or playing with the iPad or whatever. You sat there and you listened to the pastor and you listened to the choir and speakers and whoever else. But a lot of these parents will give their kids the phone to keep them quiet or whatever if they don't have a nursery or whatever have you. Mm-hmm. Taking the child out or doing like my grandma, grab you by your ear or the back of your shoulder or whatever and take that pinch and turn and twist or grab you by your leg until you you better not. You better not.
I think for me, I think one thing that bothered me was I was in church one time and I saw the pastor bring in he was preaching off of an iPad.
I've seen that.
And that bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
I know it probably shouldn't have, but it just seems so unauthentic.
I can see that. I can see that.
Because all your life, you seen the pastor come in there with his Bible, he opened it, he doing his thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And now you preaching, but you scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it just bothered me. But enough of my personal feelings.
Hey, but appreciate that inspiration, my brother. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We all need to stay focused. Whether it's a child or an adult, we all need to stay focused.
Yeah,
and not to let distractions.
But if I do like this, I'm not focused. But if I put these on, I'm in focus.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have much time left. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the elections that have just taken place. All right. With President Donald Trump and former Vice President, now President Joe Biden. Fellas, your thoughts on the election, the process, the votes, the irony? Did I say that?
Well, I don't know why the now president he don't want to give up his position, do it?
You know, he really doesn't. And he's always done this, lived in his own world. To me, he's in his own reality, and in his reality, he has not lost because the voting was rigged or it was manipulated by whoever or whatever. Now they're talking about the servers were flipping the votes once they got uploaded, which is crazy. And it's funny because 4 years ago when he won, there was no issue with voting, but now that he lost, there's a huge issue with the voting process, and now he's at the point where he's potentially damaging the democracy and the sacred voting process that we've been using for over 200 years or longer.
Yeah.
And because he feels a certain way, now you have a certain demographic out there that is running with this information, even though it's baseless. All of his lawsuits to various states have failed, have been thrown out because there's in order to file a lawsuit and even argue it, you have to provide some type of evidence. And in each case, he had no evidence. Everything was what they call hearsay. And we all know hearsay does not play in the court of law, even for Mr. Trump. So, and then on top of that, he's got his White House staff intimidated, and the Republican Party, for that matter. I mean, how do you let one man come in and just bully the whole party to where he's got his base is so freaking strong and loud that he's got the Republican Party shook. One man has the whole party shook.
Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not really sure how shook they really are. I think that party was moving towards this anyway. They were moving towards this kind of autocratic type of government anyway. If you look back in how they controlled the Senate, when they had control of the Senate, they were leaning toward this autocratic type of situation anyway. But the thing that the problem is, the guy that they have now is not the polished person that they really want. They want somebody of what he does, but they want it more polished. They don't want
it's not so obvious.
Exactly. They don't want the crazy tweeting. They don't want the crazy, just outlandish statements that he made, but they want that type of person to run their party.
They didn't want the arrogance and the vibrato aspect.
Exactly. They wanted a smarter, more polished version of him.
So basically, they wanted somebody like Pence. Somebody that we could fall asleep on, but at the same time, Pence would have been twice as dangerous as Trump.
Yeah,
twice, 3 times as dangerous.
Yes.
As Donald Trump. Because stoic, unassuming, you know he's not going to be doing no crazy tweeting. He's not going to be calling people names. He's not going to be, putting himself in front of anything. He's going to do the agenda of what that party wants to be done. That's the issue. And is there a little fear with them and the Republican Party? Of course, because they don't want to lose that base of Trumps. They don't want to lose the Trump base because, if they turn against him, they're going to turn a lot of Trump people away. So, I mean, it's so bad inside of that party that they're eating themselves. Now they're turning on Fox News.
Yeah,
that's Fox News is their echo chamber. Now he's gonna. And I was reading I think it was yesterday where he's gonna start having. Once he's done and out, he's gonna start holding rallies.
Yeah.
Against Fox News. Because he wants to have his own media.
But did you hear that his son and his son's girlfriend are wanting to, and I don't know how true this is, but they're wanting to take over the Republican Party.
Yeah.
They are wanting to take over the party.
That was always the plan with them. I mean, that's always the plan. They're grifters. They're grifters. So, if you see a situation that you can exploit as a grifter, that's what you're going to do. They have all the power right now. They really do, honestly. Even as dumb as he is, even as arrogant and just out of touch and out of bounds he is, he has all the power. Because he has a base of 72 million people. That Republicans who may not like his style or may not like his ways, they need them. They need them back.
Another important piece to that too is there was a growing population of black men that voted for Trump too. I'm not saying
what they
it was
say.
A factor, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it is something.
It's something to look at, but not as much as the white voters. I mean, like I said, the little uptick, the 2% uptick of black voters, or the 3% of uptick of Latino voters, that's not what we're talking about here. I mean, you're
2 points I want to bring to that.
Okay.
Number one, out of those 72 million that he had vote for him, it was stated on the news that 52% of that 72 million were educated white women.
55.
Oh, 55. Okay, 55.
Yeah, 50. It was 52 in 2016. It was 55 this year. Yeah, 55.
So that's alarming to me. And I know you're gonna say, I don't know why, but the piece that was alarming to me, because I'm not a woman, but I'm trying to look at it. As a woman, you're telling me that you're comfortable with this man's ways and views of women. That's what you're telling me.
Let me drop a little nugget on that when it comes to white women. In slavery, white women dominated slavery. We see massa, and we see the white man, and we see white women were far more dangerous to the black slaves than any man, white man, at that point in time. They held more slaves. They owned more slaves per capita. So this is nothing new. This is not a departure of their instincts and who they really are. I mean, you know what I'm saying? In most cases, I'm not saying all, but being 55% of those white women, that's not a shock to me that going up. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being fair to them. It's not about having, having equal rights with other people. That's not. It's about power.
Yeah.
It's about maintaining power and control. That's what it's about. It's about maintaining, and even with, white men voted less for Donald Trump from what the polls are saying. What was the one group that increased? White women. As far as voting for him.
Yep.
So again, this is not about, this is about them holding power and them holding control. Seeing that black woman or that Latino woman getting in front of me.
Right.
Or that Asian woman getting in front of me. I mean, to be honest, white men and white women are the same as far as that when it comes to power.
Power, yeah.
When it comes to power, they are the exact same. White women would rather keep the patriarchy of white men instead of for everybody being equal. They would rather have the status quo of this because it's about power and holding power and maintaining power.
Well, power is one thing that Donald Trump holds because even though he's no longer in office, there have been uproars all over the country. You got people storming the election centers, talking about stop the vote, keep voting. Yeah, I mean, what do y'all want? It's confusing. But to see this kind of uproar is really, I would say, alarming. I know I strongly feel like it's gonna phase out, but it is kind of alarming to see this, and it's
the
like
fact that it's happening. Period.
the fact that it's happening. Period. But it's like whatever Donald say, that's what his base run with, and you'll hear it. You go in the streets. That's first they say, well, you know, Trump said this. Well, you know, Trump said that, with no merit to it, no facts to it, no kind of credible source, just because he said. And it's funny that he would turn on, like you said, they was turning on Fox. It's that's funny to me because you're right. That has been their bugle horn to get their information out.
Yeah, and it's really at the end of the day when we really look about what's going on and him not conceding, which really is irrelevant. He doesn't have to concede, but because January 20th, you up out the paint, you got to go, regardless of how you feel. You got to get up out of here. But by him not conceding, it's just fueling this basically anarchy type of situation, especially with his base. And now since those people can't come up with anything original and never have, since everything that they have is stolen, whether it's music or whatever, now they're going to have the Million MAGA March. I wonder where they got that from.
Are you serious?
I didn't hear that.
I am so serious. They are planning a Million MAGA March. Where did they get that idea from, I wonder?
I'm waiting to hear. I want to see if he's going to address that, Brother Honorable Farrakhan. I want to see if he's going to address this.
And it's just, it's again, you're dealing with a group of people who are not really keen or really smart, or, I mean, you know what I'm saying, that they deal in reality. They don't deal in reality, and that's why we're in the situation we're in now, as far as in down in your neck of the woods, Chad, down in Georgia. Why we going through this foolishness of hand counting votes? For what?
And the funny thing about
dude down by 15,000 votes. What are we talking about?
It's already been certified. It came out today. The votes have been certified. But the funny thing is, there's I think there's a Senate race, two Senate races.
Two runoffs. Yes.
Runoffs, yeah. Yes. Anyway, one of them was Kelly Loeffler, right? And then Purdue. Yeah, he's the other one, right? Mm-hmm. How about both of them, which are Republicans, are turning on their own? The secretary that's over the voting process down here, Brad Raffensperger or something like that.
Raffensperger, I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm.
He's Republican. Mm-hmm. They're turning on him, saying that he needs to resign because the voting process down here was a shamble, was horrific.
No.
And I'm like, wow, because he made sure it was done and done right, regardless of his party.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Brad said it's not gonna happen. I'm not stepping down. We protected the voting process. Everybody voted. Every vote was counted. This is what happened. Republican. I would have loved to see it go the other way, but my duties come first.
Exactly.
And that's what that man said.
Mm-hmm.
My duties come first. And what the votes say is that Biden is the winner here in Georgia, and there it is.
Mm-hmm.
They turned on.
What did I just say earlier? They would rather eat their own. They would rather eat their own and burn the whole thing down to keep the power.
Well, you know, Vernon Jones did the same thing.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
He turned on his own. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, you know,
too late. I mean, by the gallon.
Yeah. But you know, some of those folk do that for prestige and don't really understand that, you know, your 15 minutes is up now. Your 15 minutes is up now. You Candace Owens and you Diamond and Silks and you what's the preacher name? Daryl what is his name? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever his last name is. But yeah, your 15 minutes.
Hold on, Pete. But hold on. Daryl said that Trump was the most pro-black president in our lifetime. Okay. Mr. Hunt.
Okay, my bad. My fault, bro.
Yes.
But yeah, man, it's just it's laughable to me for all, and it just really shows how thin of a thread this democracy is hanging on to. The thin of the string that somebody like Donald Trump could disrupt this democracy this much lets you know how thin of a thread this democracy is hanging on.
Not on that, but you got Republican Party so intimidated that in public they won't say congratulations to Biden, but they'll tell their Democratic counterparts off camera and off to the side, we wish him well, but we can't really speak out right now. He got them intimidated that bad. And then on top of this, his White House staff,
he a bully.
They can't go look for jobs because he said if you find anybody in the White House looking for a job, fire them immediately.
Well,
now that's
practice.
If you lose,
I'm gonna lose my job anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just it's really, like I said, it just really shows how a thread this democracy hangs on, because one person has come in here and just turned the whole table over. Like on Lean on Me, when old boy turned the table over on Joe Clark. You gonna give me the respect I deserve, or I'm gonna kick your. But yeah. But now I think we've got him out of the way. Now let's focus on the future, on what Biden and Harris. What are we expecting from them?
Okay, here's the deal. I think black people at large have finally woken up, because we slept during 8 years when Obama was in presidency. Because if you notice, the gay agenda got their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got their agenda, and a few other people got their agenda. We were the only ones that didn't get what we wanted. Number one, we didn't ask for it, because we assumed that because he would get in the presidency, he would look out.
Automatically.
Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the fault is on both sides. The black people as a whole and President Barack Obama. But now this go around, because we worked so hard to educate ourselves on this process, the voting process, and we've gained more insight on how this politic thing works. So we've been hitting Joe at large pretty hard with some tough questions, especially dealing with the crime bill and a few other things that he's said. Kamala with her record. So now we're like, okay, because we feel like out of the pick that we have, these will be the best fit. Now we have something to hold you to the fire to. So see, all of this planning and collaborating is not over. We got them in the White House. Now what we got to do is hold them accountable. Joe, you came up with a plan for healthcare, for global warming, for African Americans and people of color to prosper economically, educationally. Okay, we see your little plan. It's cool. We like that. Now the thing is, we as a people have to hold their feet to the fire. If this is what you say you're gonna do, we need to make sure every promise is kept.
But the thing is, right now, Chad, that's gonna kind of, what hinges on that is those 2 Senate seats in Georgia.
Yeah.
But because if the Reverend and the other guy, what it Ossoff?
Don Ossoff.
And,
okay. Yeah, and then
and the Reverend Warnock.
Raphael Warnock.
Yeah, if the Reverend and Ossoff win, okay, now we're talking. But if Offler and
Warnock,
Purdue,
if Kelly,
if Purdue and Kelly Loeffler, if they win, it's over, because the Republicans will have control of the Senate. And you know what? Mitch.
The only thing I can hope for if the Republicans win is the fact that Joe has somewhat of a track record when it comes to reaching across the aisle.
No. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. I mean, if Republicans get control of the Senate, it's over. It's just going to be like when President Obama was in office and Republicans had the Senate. Tippy the Turtle is going to block everything that goes on.
The Grim Reaper.
McConnell. He's gonna block everything. So again, it is super important that my folk down in Georgia vote just like they did in the presidential election. Mm-hmm. They can't and Stacey Abrams, man, can we get can we get a round of applause for Stacey Abrams? My goodness, if they continue on this path, I think that the Democrats will win those 2 seats, and then they will have control of the Senate. That's the only way anything is going to get done. With Joe Biden as president, because like I said, if the Republicans control the Senate, it doesn't matter if the Democrats have the House. So what? It doesn't matter. Bills get passed through the Senate, right? And it's hundreds of bills sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk right now, passed by the House, that he won't even bring to the floor.
He won't even give them the light of day.
Yeah, won't even bring them to the floor. So it's super important that these 2 Georgia runoff seats are won by the Democrats for anything for Biden and Harris to get any of their agenda done. And like I said, for them, like I said, Chad, you as black folk, okay, now we got to hold your feet to the fire, dog. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to see what you're talking about. If you are what you say you are, and from what I'm reading in the tea leaves that I'm reading, that he's going to have one of the most diverse staffs in modern history, led by black women, for the most part.
There's rumor that our mayor has been offered to be on one of his panels or staff or whatever. Keisha Bottoms. I personally hope that she does not take that position, that she stays here in Atlanta, because with her and Stacey Abrams down here doing what they did to turn Georgia blue, that was huge.
Yeah, and Stacey Abrams already said she's running for governor in 2022. So she's already put that. Yeah, she's already put that out there, and she's going to win. She's going to win. It's not going to be any question.
Yeah, she's going to win.
Yeah, it's not going to be any question. There's not going to be the guy who's running for governor, who's also the Secretary of State, who's also over voting, there to stop her this time. So yeah, with her running for governor, and like I said, if he offers Keisha Lance Bottoms something, would that be a great opportunity for her? Oh, absolutely. But again, Chad, like you said, can you really, we don't want to hold you up, sister, but woo.
Can we afford to lose you?
Exactly.
Because this has not been done in Georgia before. Even with the mayor before her, he was a brother, and he wasn't able to get Georgia to turn blue. But between Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms and Stacey Abrams, bruh, they put in major work. And not to discredit anybody else, everybody that they work with to get this happening throughout this whole state. I mean, because really, Atlanta makes up majority of the black population in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. So the rest of Georgia is rural. So to be able to get out here to the rest of Georgia and get these people at least thinking, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just drinking the Kool-Aid, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. And I think I think that the momentum right now is on the Democrat side right now, especially in Georgia. Because I mean, Stacey Abrams is still continuing to do her thing. I think they said she got over with her help and and the help of her team and the people on the ground down there in Georgia, over 800,000 people to register to vote. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
This month alone, she's already raised $7 million.
Yeah, that's just for the upcoming senatorial races. Right. Already.
Bruh, already in that short amount of time.
Yeah. So, it's definitely looking in the favor of the Democrats right now in those 2 races. Hopefully that can happen. I mean, because we've had enough tomfoolery with the Republicans running the Senate, and it's just nothing is getting accomplished.
One other thing to look at too, Pete, real quick, that was a brow raiser was the state of Texas. the presidential race was real close in the state of Texas. I mean, I know that Trump won it, but
it wasn't by much.
Really close, right? Not by much.
Yeah.
So Texas could wind up flipping too eventually within the next few years. So that's big.
Yeah.
Texas, Georgia, Arizona gave it to Biden. I mean, it's happening. Oh,
yeah.
I know what I wanted to bring up. When we were talking about the black and Latino vote, when it came to Trump, there was a pundit on CNN talking about the Latino vote, and she was saying she was frustrated they were lumping in the Latino votes all into one, which was not the case. She said the Latino vote in South Florida was heavily for Trump because his spin machine about, well, if I don't win, you get Biden and you get socialism and Marxism and all this other stuff, and it freaked out the Latinos in that area because they had just come from Cuba, you know, from other Hispanic places where they had socialism, and they were like, they didn't want to go back to that. So she was saying that their PR for Trump was so powerful and they just kept doing it that it scared them, and that's why they voted. She said, but if you look at the Latinos in the Midwest and in Arizona, they were strongly Biden.
But and I think I saw with that interview what you were talking about. But again, in South Florida, whether it was Trump, the PR or whatever, they are more conservative anyway. The white Cubans, that's what they're called. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because where they come from, they're light skinned and this, that, and the third. They are more conservative. They are more conservative people. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And they voted for him in 2016. That was nothing different. That was nothing new to the Cubans in South Florida. So, I mean, just like in there, just like with black folk, we have issues with each other as far as skin color and this, that, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. The same is different in the Latino community. Because Cubans look down on Mexicans, and Mexicans look down on this person or that group of Latinos, yada, yada, yada. It's all through there. And those people in South Florida, those Cubans in South Florida are pretty much Republicans. That's what they are, and that's what they choose to be. You know, it is what it is. But like I said, out more Midwest, West, they're more liberal. They're more liberal. So what she said was absolutely correct as far as, you know, lumping all Latinos together. But in the end, the majority of Latinos voted Democratic anyway. So, I mean, 65%, 68% or whatever it was. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, those South Florida Latinos, I mean, they're just a group of people that's going to be more conservative and that's going to vote more Republican than anywhere else in the country. So she was definitely right about that. So I mean, and I think as far as black men, I think it was the machismo of Trump, the ego of Trump, the bravado of Trump that got a lot of black men to go that way.
So I guess they just saw past the ignorance and enjoyed the confidence and the vibrato, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, all I can say is thank you, black women.
I know that's right.
Thank you, black
women. Doing what you've always done.
Yep. Backbone.
Backbone. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mike, that's a song.
I know. Backbone.
It's waiting for you to write it.
You are my backbone, lady.
Get on them. Go ahead. Get on them pads, Mike.
You know what I'm saying?
Get on that 808. Get on that.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel a beat coming on.
Right?
Without you, I'm slumped over.
Not slumped over.
Slumped
jelly
over,
bag. Jelly bag.
Oh, jelly bag.
Jelly bag. Hey, y'all. As we wrap this up, does anybody have any final comments or any last stuff?
Georgia, vote.
Yes, Lord.
Georgia, vote. Chad, get your people right down there in Georgia.
I'm going to work with them.
Vote like your livelihood depends on it, because it does.
We want to know right now. We want to know. We need to be 2-0.
I'm telling you.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to end with the Bible thought of verse of the day. And I'm coming from John 15, chapter 4th verse. And it reads, remain in me, and I will remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me.
All right now.
May the word that was read be a blessing to your soul.
That's right. That's right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs that blessing, brother.
Yes, sir. Fellas, any last thing?
Yeah.
Coming in the Honda. What's up? What's up? Here you go, Dan Rathers. Here you go. He's shaking for 20 minutes. Come on, bro.
Nah. I just wanted to say that
don't do it.
You're not qualified to be president if you ain't never had your scalp greased. And scratched.
Hey, Mike, with that comb with the long rat tail on it, where they part it and bring it over, part it and separate it with the.
Okay. That you get at the 5 and 2 wig shop.
I know that's right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Ourvoice 360, our perspectives, our ways. We really appreciate you.
We really do.
Listening to us, guys. Be safe, be blessed, and we are out.
All right.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Ourvoice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.